Great to have you all on this panel. In terms of, I think we are in a phase where skill development, skill enhancement, and maintaining a skilled workforce. I think that's a challenge, or that's a opportunity which the new age India is facing or having today. So I come from a background wherein I had sessions across public sector, then into the private sector. So from a supply chain to marketing and to HR. And today, I think last 13 years, I've seen, say in the private sector, particularly, I was in the manufacturing in terms of being in the oil and industry market plus the power sector. So the skill sets, maybe traditionally the skill sets have been there, but over a period of time with technology, with time, things have picked up, things have changed. So even in the traditional, in a power plant, the skills requirements, skill sets have undergone drastic change. So we also have tried to upskill our workforce. So in that context, I would like to hear from each of the panel member, how are you tackling or how are you facing these challenges, or what are the new innovations which we are getting into put into practice in terms of skill development and in terms of maintaining the skills required for an organization to run. Maybe I can start with Ranjan. I think he comes with a cross experience in a large organization. Over to you, Ranjan.
Thank you, Krishna. Thank you very much, and happy to be here with these elite panelists. See, to start with, I must say that I think what you have also outlined, the skill requirement, the identification of skill gap and going to that next step has become very important. And I think probably pandemic has made us realize that this is one area which needs to be completely focused on. As we know that WEF also is launching this reskilling revolution, and probably doing it today, that initiative to have 1 billion people with better education, better skills by 2030. For India, it's also equally very important what you told just now, that with nearly 10 to 12 million youth joining the workforce every year, India only should not train and skill them, but at the same time, we must be aspiring these people to enter the world, I think, enter the global market. I must appreciate that the way our Honorable PM has been focusing on Atmanirbhar Bharat as well as on the skill development initiative itself. I think this has become a focus area for each one of us. So if we would like to go to a economically self-reliant India, then this nation has to achieve that transformational change. And this is rubbing on all. I think we have a representation from private sectors here. I'll just try to say, as far as the focus by public sectors are concerned, we try to build up this Indian stack. I mean, the skill development marketplace, which can decentralize application-oriented skills, along with digital. I think these are the two things. I think probably this pandemic time, digital has come to the forefront, and we see that we can do a lot of changes to our skill initiatives and focus on skill. And then, of course, skill wallet, which is with freedom of choice, I think that's also another important thing, which is also there for each one of us. Coming specifically, as you told, regarding Indian Oil or public sectors, which we are doing, you may be aware that Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, that is driving the Skill India agenda on a mission mode. I think probably that's what we keep on seeing the changes. I mean, particularly the oil industries, we set up 6 skill development institutes all across the country. The main being which is being driven by Indian Oil in Bhubaneswar, which is SDI Bhubaneswar. It's a 46-acre institute which is coming up with almost 500 crores of investment, and it's going to be an institute where we are aspiring at least 2,000 people can be skilled in different areas, not only pertaining to oil industries, but different areas. I mean, in fact, just recently we are starting to focus something on sports as well. So these are the areas which I feel very strongly we have to focus on for taking India to the next level, to take India's skill capital to that other level. Thank you.
So Maya, how are you facing these? I think you handle a specific in terms of campus, and so I think the challenges and the uh, things you face might be altogether different. How are you tackling in your organization?
Thanks, Krishnakumar, for that question. See, if I look at technology industry or IT service industry that I represent, I've been here with Cognizant for like almost 25 years now. I started as a trainee and then grew through multiple roles here. What I've seen in the last 5 to 6 years as a disruption to the workforce is because of the exponential change in technology. It's literally continuously exponentially changing world in the technology or economy that we call, where employees or associates in every organization, they know that the change is happening, but the pace at which that they should change is the biggest gap. The employees do not kind of take that accountability into themselves that, okay, this change is real and it is going to hit me tomorrow. So what I find as the biggest difference in a technology industry is being ready for tomorrow today, right? Being ready for the future today is the mantra in the last 4 or 5 years. Now, if you take organizations like us, which has like 2 to 3 lakh employees, right? All of us have huge workforce. Now, how will this workforce change to that kind of a demand for being ready for future today? Has to come from not with just the identifying skill gaps or having a digital learning platforms or content, etc. Right? That is there. I think MOOC world has disrupted that, and it's democratized. Learning is democratized. I totally believe in that. But what is not changed to a great extent in organizations is how is the talent marketplace ecosystem making that push to every individual that if you are not ready for future today, then your career growth, your merit increases, your whole growth in the organization or anywhere in IT is going to be difficult. That kind of mirror in front of them has not really been seen by them clearly. And that can happen only if the ecosystem of top-down approach of this is the demand for your skills and where do you fit in into that demand, how long will it take you to get into that demand. And so if you are going to take 3 years to be meeting that demand requirement, for example, data scientist is a role that all of us know is in a very high demand, and every organization has so much of those requirements, but you cannot become data scientist in 3-4 months. It's a journey in itself. But are you starting the journey? How are you preparing to be in that ready for future today? At that, taking that accountability through the talent marketplace model, where they are kind of told that, or they know that, okay, if I have to go there, I have to put this kind of a journey map in front of me and work towards it. That if the organizations kind of focus on that ecosystem, not about the skill. That's my view in a technology industry. That's the biggest difference or change that I've still not seen in large organizations, where it becomes like a time given to the employee as well. Now, at the end of the day, if you ask me what is the biggest challenge that every employee finds, is you're already 100% billable and you have to put extra effort to kind of get there. I mean, to deliver to a customer. On top of it, you have to continuously learn for the future. Where do you find the time for it? So these are the two things I would say is disrupting from a technology service or a technical in the technology industry perspective.
So, Rahul, how will be your perspective in terms of what Ranjan or and Maya said? How is it? You are in between, or you are part, more in the technology part of the sector?
I am part of a technology company, which is the next. Compared to both Maya's and Ranjan's companies, we are tiny. We are barely 500 people. But deep tech, because a lot of analytics based on artificial intelligence, machine learning, and all that stuff. That's our primary focus area. Our bread and butter business comes from there. But yes, what both of you said resonates, especially what Maya said in terms of the pace of change and getting people to realize that if they cannot motivate themselves, their career is going to hit a dead end in 2 or 3 years' time, because it just run out of skills. I mean, I'll take a very simplistic example which has come to the fore in this pandemic. is infosec or cybersecurity, whatever you want to call it. Frankly speaking, all of us, it was there in the back of your minds 5-7 years ago, and it was typically hardware related. Somebody had some extremely good network equipment in terms of firewalls, etc. And that's it. You continued. Today, what's happened is that that whole network has got inverted because of this work from home. You suddenly have few lakh doors in your cases. In my case, 500 doors open into the network. But the skill sets haven't grown. I mean, across the world, you've got this huge shortage of information security specialists who can actually understand, drill down, and do forensics on when an attack is happening, for example, or has happened, and you have a ransomware malware scenario. Similar is the case with data sciences, data analytics. Similar is the case with the new data science, machine learning programming languages, because they are evolving continuously. Something which was viable 2 years ago has been replaced by 2 different generations and a third language. So what we've done in terms of organization is built in an X% time to that these guys have to scale up, because we know our business is dependent on that, and we run it, and it's part of their KRAs. So if the guys don't scale up, they have a problem. So I mean, if a guy is out of his 100% billable time, that has been reduced to about anywhere between 90 and 95%, depending on the level and the kind of skill set the guy has. And the other 5 to 10% is put into projects which are run as rigorously for them to scale up. That's what we're trying to do.
Thank you. I think that's great opening remarks. I think I'll come back to Ranjan again in terms of the challenges. Obviously, I think Ranjan, you're a larger organization with a lot of unionized workforce. How is their understanding, or how has it been easy or difficult for you to get them on board in terms of have they understood the upskilling is a requirement for future? Or how has that challenge been tackled, or how is it been? I think it'll be an eye opener for a lot of organizations, because we still have a lot of unionized workforce across. Because I think we all come across wherein physical presence is required for certain set of work. So how are we tackling these things currently?
Yeah, thank you. I think this pandemic has been an eye opener for everybody. I think that has been a realization or introspection point for everyone else. And I must tell you this also. Everybody. I mean, for that matter, if we are talking of Indian staff or anybody for that matter, everybody has realized that there is no way to get out of it. So it is better to be agile. It is better to adapt to this particular new change. I mean, what we are calling it as a new normal, it is better to adapt to that. And the skill requirements is changing. That realization is also have sunk in. So I must really give credit to everybody else. I mean, of course, our skill development initiatives or filling up the skill gap initiatives are not only limited to our direct employees, because naturally, we have, I may have 33,500 direct employees. I have more than 5 lakh people who are depending on us in a different ways. Like let us speak about the customer attendants who are there at retail outlets, or the delivery boys who are there at who deliver LPG at everybody's place. They need to be also. I mean, there has been interesting thing on that as well. I will just, I'll take 1 minute on this. We have launched one thing called a recognition of the prior learning. See, people are already skilled, but they do not have. See, suppose today, this is also becoming important. I think that must be very, very important in the IT industry as well, that somebody has a skill, he is engaged already. But at the same time, suppose he would like to go out somewhere and then again try it like somewhere else. How do I recognize that prior learning? So this is what actually oil industries have worked on very nicely. And there's something called RPL under the Hydrocarbon Sector Skill Council. We have already started doing it for our customer attendants and delivery boys. For them, we are giving RPL certification, so that if he moves out also, he has this certificate that he has been. So we identify what exactly skill is required for delivering that and fill that gap and give a certificate to them. Krishnan, with your permission, if you permit, one more thing I just wanted to add.
Please.
I want to add, I mean, this may be quite different. It may be a bit of a deviation. As far as we are concerned, we are always talking about skill for filling up a job requirement. But again, I mean, we have to think beyond. I think probably, I'll give you a small example of what we have done. How can we create entrepreneurs by skill initiatives? I'll tell you a small example. You all are aware, maybe knowing about the Ujjwala scheme, which has taken India by storm, and we have provided LPG connections to ladies. We realize that these women, when they don't have to go out for fetching firewoods and other things, so they're available. So once this LPG cylinder has been given to them, they are having time. Can we engage them? Can we enhance their skills on certain activities? So we did that experimentation in Orissa, where we started giving around skills on different activities, particularly on stitching and making items out of that, to a group of 300 ladies. To tell you, once this was over, these ladies have now formed a company, which they are calling it Ujjwala My Producers. They have formed a company. Now they have started working on that. And this company, during this pandemic period, has produced not less than 5 lakh masks and other items which are required by them. And this has become a profitable company now. So this is what, I mean, if we are really using skill development to convert people even to entrepreneurs, I think that probably needs to be looked into. Thank you.
Thanks, Ranjan. I think that's great points. So that means one is the realization of the workforce, and maybe the second one, which I get a point, is that experimenting with new things. I think that experimentation part has worked for you. So Maya, coming to you, I think one is we have been talking in terms of the skill upliftment for people who are already in place. Since you go to campuses, I think maybe I also experienced prior to pandemic when you used to go to campuses, the expectation when we go as a recruiter versus what the what answers or what kind of interaction we get with the students. At times we do face that what they have studied, what they have been taught is not what matching to what a company will expect. Always that gap is there. Now going forward, how do we tackle, because we are tackling the workforce which is already present with us. Now, what's the kind of thing which we can put into, when we interact with campuses, when they are generating each year, we have lakhs of students, fresh students come. How do we, tackle or address the situations there where those workforce also get upskill, or those people, students get upskill in their own campuses or during their courses? Is there anything which we are doing it today?
So I think the multiple parts of that system of education is changing and has changed. A subset of it has changed faster, which is helping technology companies like ours. So if you have read, in the recent news also it came that technology companies like us, we are hiring in this year itself 28 to 30,000 freshers are joining us. If you take TCS or Infosys, Wipro, any of the large IT services company, they all are taking similar numbers. So imagine around 1 to 2 lakh engineering graduates and 3-year computer science graduates are coming into the IT organizations and becoming productive like in a very short time. Things have changed to that extent that the training time required has come down a little bit. So that's but a subset of colleges. I wouldn't say the 25,000 colleges in India have embarked on that journey and changed fast. I wouldn't say that. But what I see is happening is, one is internship. Many of the colleges are making their 8th semester kind of open for internship, which means companies should be willing to invest in that 8th semester and train them for the needs they have. At least 300 to 400 colleges have seen that. If you take 3-year graduates, UGC have just announced in November 2020, they plan the new model where 3-year grads in their 6th semester, they can do internship, which was never there. They're just going to start. So from this batch onwards, the students who join a 3-year program will have a 6th semester internship. I think that's a big change from a readiness. Now it is for the corporates and organizations to invest the time in developing them, because till their fifth semester, if you take a 3-year grad or a 4-year grad till their sixth semester, they are learning a lot of theoretical and bit of practical. Now you have to literally move them 180 degrees and then start on a journey. I feel all that can happen, and there is an ecosystem that will come together to that. My largest challenge with students is there with the virtual change. The whole distance between a student and corporate has increased in the virtual world. Earlier, when we are running training, we call it like a cohort, a batch of 25, 30 come to a class and learn. And now it has become batch size of 1. Every individual is a batch for me, because they all should come into the class at that time. They should be on the video. They should do the hands-on exercises. They should take the assessments on time. We have to literally chase everyone. So the fundamental question I start asking is, how keen are the students to learn? They're still in the pass-fail mentality. They used to be, and it has become even more worse today with virtual, that okay, there is a corporate who's giving me some training and they're giving assessments. I need to somehow pass. Whether I come to the class, whether I say, do something else and pass, that questioning of learning, how much of importance is a student giving to learning a new area and be ready when everything is disruptive on the other side. That is what colleges should tell them, to make them ready for that continuous learning, knowing that it's not about this one-time training and you start your career, right? It's going to be from day one, your upskilling, cross-skilling and reskilling start. And if you're not even ready to do that in your 8th semester in a genuine way, that how do we build that? That's a question in front of colleges, in my view.
Thanks, Maya. I think that's a great point. I think, maybe when I passed out, that was like, I done the graduation, I finished my studies, nothing to study now. But I think that whole phase has changed. Now, I think every day, I think I'm learning more now, and I have to study more today to be there, in terms of my skill sets or my knowledge. I think that's a huge change. So, Rahul, coming to you, you are in a niche space, you are in the digital space.
Yeah.
And in terms of workforce, the skill sets are already there, but you need to also upgrade. Now, you did say that you got your people, the KRAs are made, done with the skills upgradation. So how challenging, how has been the response in terms of the workforce? Because I think that workforce is slightly, they are already having a certain skills which are not there in the market altogether. So how that challenge has been tackled?
Okay, so Krishnakumar, to be honest, they don't come with existing skills for this kind of stuff. Whatever is there is basically, as Maya said, the students' original initiative or whatever the guidance they've received in college. But then, yes, I agree, training times have come down. But then what we try and do is run them for about 3 months to see which particular area are they showing potential in. Because of the kind of niche stuff that we do, it's a lot of logic and a lot of intuitive understanding. It's not necessarily a straightforward, technology development kind of thing. You have to write so many functions. At the end of the day, this module has to do this. It's not like that. You have to get onto a process of discovery. So it requires a slightly different mindset, which is why we tend to pick people of a particular area. So the trick there is in explaining to them and getting them enthused about what they are skilling themselves in, and then suddenly they start seeing the potential. Okay, so we have a decent success rate. I'm not going to say it's 100%. I think it's about 75, 76 kind of percent. These guys go, of course, because of the pre thing, but we lose about 25% out of the lot who become average support guys for the smarter chaps, if I would put it that way. But a lot of this learning comes from depending on what kind of K-12 education they've had and what kind of stuff they've done in college. Irrespective of the college, I think it's more the style of teaching. But wherever they've had a research-oriented kind of scenario, those kids really scale up very quickly because they've been used to doing that since maybe class 6, 7. Getting in, searching, and practically teaching themselves, and that scenario works. So we also do a lot of colleague teach colleague kind of stuff to put it. Problem being that this is brand new technology. So as an organization, we're also learning. What was there, something which wasn't there 6 months ago is here today in terms of machine learning and the kind of technology upskill. So everybody has to learn from whatever digital resources are available, and there's no guru to go to get guided from that perspective. So that's the kind of that those are the kind of approaches we take towards upskilling.
So thanks. I think great, Rahul. I think some self-starters, somewhere we push. I think it's a mixed bag. Yeah, I think as to be on the open thing, I think any one of you can take up. What is the challenges in terms of the geography? We have a geography which is vast, which has cities versus the villages or the interiors. And I think one of the challenges I think we all faced, or the education institution faced, was how to get the digital learning to the because everybody is on digital today. I think to an extent that has been tackled. But in terms of this, the skill gaps, making it up, how challenging is is it varies between the bigger cities to the smaller towns or to the interiors? Any one of you can take it up. It's an open question, or you can modify it the way you want.
Yes, there is a differentiation, but what does happen is the desire to learn and work hard is of course much more in the guys from a smaller town background, and that pushes them to excel beyond the guys from the larger towns. But with this access to cheap data, if it is a particular technology area that, I mean, I'm speaking from my experience being in the tech sector, there's not too much of a difference. Soft skills, definitely, but tech, because those guys are so driven, they've gone onto all the MOOC platforms and just bloody absorb the thing like a sponge. So they come across, the minute you get onto tech, these guys are sharp. Yeah, social skills. So we help them on that. Softer skills, interacting with colleagues, those kind of things. But this has been my experience.
Yeah, I'll just add on to what Rahul, in fact, I'm going to support to that. Probably technology has made this difference completely, this gap coming down very narrow, to the very narrow stage. Even even as far as soft skills are also concerned, Rahul, we see in the 2-tier or tier 3, tier 2, tier 3 cities also, they are developing themselves through technology. I mean, technology is empowering the students these days, or people these days. Just to take the case, I think yesterday in Man Ki Baat, Prime Minister was talking about Essar Munda. I think that was the name of somebody who has become a YouTuber. He lives in a village and he's earning 80,000 per month. What does he do? He does. I mean, on the YouTube, he puts it how he gets the from the that jackfruit from the market, and how he goes, picks it up, cuts it, and makes it, and he gets it. And when he was asked, I mean, in fact, we had met him earlier. When he was asked that how did you learn? He says, I learned everything from YouTube only. I didn't go to anybody. Guru, Rahul told about Guru. There is no Guru. I went through the YouTube and did it. So this is the gap which is coming in. I mean, I think technology is making it possible.
Yeah, I think any points, Maya, from this?
And I would say program management of a skill development is not considered as a very important area. So even if you take India skill development programs, again, there is content, there is platform, there are buyers, right? I mean, users, all are there. But the program governance is one, but the management of it, how you should really structure it and run it to measure results and show the results, and then move from that novice to practitioner to expert to guru, right? If you want to take someone from level 0 to a level 4 of their skill development, it is a structured program management, which generally is given very less money, right? If you take the whole budget of a skilling, almost 80 to 90% goes in the platform and the content and the hands-on labs and all of that. Very less on the whole delivery management, what we call as the program delivery, right? The learning delivery. I think that should be given considerable be big importance when it comes to rural areas and development, because you cannot just make the things available and expect them to just pick and do. There are like 10 or 5% who are learning on their own, like the example Ranjan sir said. But if you want to see a large scale change in India in rural areas, it needs a lot more stronger, highly passionate, people driven kind of governance. So then you will see a larger change in a shorter time. Otherwise, our skill development will, by the time that skill development happens, some no tons of new skills would have come. No, you'll never see the light of the result. The results, I feel. So my point is about the whole program governance and management in rural areas is extremely critical, or as important as the content and hands-on.
I think that's where maybe corporates needs to step in. It cannot be one way in terms of only the governments or the state institutions getting into it. I think a lot of corporates have shown that ability and willingness to put money and time into this. I think, and because in return, what Ranjan was talking about, setting up something in Bhubaneswar. So these are the kind of initiatives I think which will take us forward. I think the panel came out with very good points. So that means one is it is inevitable for people to get upskilled themselves. That is one part of it. Organizations are doing their best in terms of what they want to. They are identifying the skill gaps. They are putting efforts and helping the employees or the allied people who are connected to with the enterprise to upskill. It is getting part of the KRAs. We are looking at connecting with the education institutions and colleges to upskill from when they are actually getting groomed. And the technology part of it, because of which I think the gap part of it, where we've had the gaps, I think that is reducing. Maybe there is still gaps, but the gaps are, the visible gaps are reducing in terms of the larger cities or a smaller town. And maybe as a corporate, maybe we should go ahead and add more value by venturing. I think that is something which has, over a period of time, a lot of corporates, we have gone beyond the top 5 or top 10 institutes, and we are looking at, because a lot of institutes have come up across in remote areas as well. I think so. These are beginnings. I think we have started the journey, and I think we are continuing the journey of upskilling and finding the gaps, training and teaching our people. I think that's the way forward. I think that's from my side. Thank you, guys. I think thank you all. Thank you, Maya. Thank you, Ranjan. And thank you, Rahul.